I've run 180 kilometers in the Dandenong Ranges National Park to give you the ultimate guide to level up your weekend hikes. Dog owners, stay tuned for the end of the video for a bonus extra area near the Dandenong Ranges National Park where you can bring your dog. Now, this area is very special to me. It's my favorite place to run and hike. 16k, about 20.5 k's today, 25 k's, I'm on a road. And it's also where I took Amy, my now wife, on our first ever date together. Now, I like to think of the Dandenong Ranges National Park as kind of four quadrants, four quarters. Let's start with the southeast quarter. It's kind of made up of two halves, if you like. On the eastern side, you've got what I would call the Lyrebird walk side, the Sherbrooke Forest side. The Lyrebird walk side of the southeast quarter has 12 k's of tracks, about 500 meters of elevation for an average grade of about 8.4%. The tracks are a mixture of muddy but not too crazy, dirty tracks and some well-formed gravel roads as well. This area of the national park is accessible on the north, the east and the south sides. That southern side is about 1 kilometre from Belgrave train station, so also accessible via PTV. I see there's two best loop walks available in this area. You've got a 6.6k with 300 metres of elevation, or an 8.3k option where you can extend it a little bit with 350 metres of elevation. There's also a 4.1k 150 metre elevation loop available on the east side of the park. All of these walks follow the aptly named Lyrebird walk. There are a lot of lyrebirds in this area. I've seen them almost every time I've been. I've also seen kookaburras, crimson rosellas, plenty of cockatoos, some wallabies around the edges sometimes, and I've even seen a wombat. Now, both halves of this area are predominantly cool temperate rainforests dominated by ferns and the gigantic mountain ash Eucalyptus, which are the tallest flowering plant in the world. The western side of this area I would call the Sherbrooke Falls side. That's the main attraction in the area. In the northern half of this section, the tracks are mostly well-formed dirt tracks. Around the borders you get some kind of just cleared out mown grass, I guess, but it can be pretty steep and wide and slippery. The hill climb track, which runs up the middle straight to Sherbrooke Falls, is consistently very muddy, so be warned. There are some short out and backs that you can do about 2 kilometers from the Sherbrooke picnic ground or the O'Donoghue picnic ground. Both those picnic grounds, Sherbrooke and O'Donoghue, have toilets if that's something you're worried about. The out and backs from the two picnic grounds are not too crazy in elevation. Definitely if you're wanting to avoid that, that might be the option you go for. From the west side, you're looking at probably about 150 meters of elevation for a 4k loop. Moving on to the southwestern section of the national park, I would call this the 1,000 Steps / Ferny Creek area. It's one of the most popular areas of the Dandenong Ranges National Park for that famed 1,000 steps. There's about 26.5 k's of tracks, about 1550 meters of elevation for an average grade of about 11.6%. Quite steep. Main car park is the start of the 1,000 Steps. It's very popular, especially around school holidays and stuff, for lots of tourists. One Tree Hill's the top of the 1,000 Steps. You can just drive up there and park there if you want to have a picnic and avoid hiking to get altogether. Most of this area is sclerophyll forest or dry forest, dominated by stringy barks and mountain grey gums. I saw quite a few birds in this area, but no mammals. I heard a lot of cockatoos and kookaburras and crimson rosellas. And I also saw a king parrot, which was quite nice. Tracks are mostly well-formed gravel with some formed steps, obviously, on that 1,000 steps. You can do the classic out and back 1,000 steps. It's about 4 k's. It's about 300 meters of elevation. Alternatively, you can do things like a 5.6k 300 meter loop. Alright, moving on to the northwest section, which I would call the Doongalla picnic area or the Burkes lookout area, Mount Dandenong area. Now this is where I did take Amy on our first date. We got rained on very hard, so it was very short, one of the shorter loops that is possible in this area, maybe 2 k's or so. There are about 29.5 k's of tracks in this area, 1450 meters of elevation for about a 9.8% average grade. So one of the bigger areas in terms of tracks. I'd really separate this into the southern area south of Doongalla picnic grounds, where you can do lots of loop walks, generally a little bit longer ones, through some of that cool temperate rainforest with lots of ferns and very impressive mountain ash. The western half of that southern bit of around the Doongalla picnic area, there is some of that dry sclerophyll forest, and I did get jump scared by some kangaroos there too, so there's some other wildlife in this area to be found. Northern half of this section is mostly that sclerophyll dry forest, stringy bucks and mountain grey gums. Heard and saw some kookaburras as well as cockatoos. And then up the northern half you've got Burkes Lookout, which there's a million TikToks of calling it the best lookout in Melbourne, so definitely go check that out. You can park about 300 meters from the lookout and just quickly pop down there with no elevation if you want. Or in that area you can do some walks. You're best served doing out and back north-south walks if you want to avoid elevation. Any loop walk you do going across from east to west terrain is going to be quite a bit of elevation. The tracks in the southern half of this area are a mixture of some slick, very slick clay surfaces, not to be trifled with, some well-formed gravel paths, as well as some less maintained, we'll say, dirt tracks. Northern area is mostly well-maintained gravel paths. Now onto the final area of the Dandenong Ranges National Park. We have the northeast area. It's the biggest. There's over 40 k's of tracks. There's about 1750 meters of elevation for an average grade of about 8.5%. There's a lot of mountain biking tracks in the northern half that you're unwise to walk on. I don't think you're allowed to. You run into a mountain biker. And this northeast area is a mixture, once again, of really some more riparian forest, because there's quite a few streams that I was passing, but mostly it's some of that more of that dry forest. In this northeast section I found 3 echidnas, which is 3 more than any of the other sections. Had the usual suspects of kookaburras a little bit, some crimson rosellas. This northeast section is closest to the township of Olinda, which has some lovely cafes and quirky shops to go into and lolly stores and stuff, so if you want stuff to do after your hike, then this might be for you. Now for the dog lovers, this is our secret bonus extra section, the Hamer Arboretum, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is actually where I am right now. I've been here with Bonnie and Amy a couple times. There's lots of different non-native plants in addition to the natives for your dog to explore and sniff about. Lots of sounds to listen to and chase. I know Bonnie is certainly always trying to go find some animal that we can't see. Tracks are largely well-formed, dirt, gravel, kind of wider roads. Do be cautious in this area to make sure, maybe look ahead of time, that you're not entering the national park, because of course your dog's not allowed there and you'll cop a fine and maybe damage some wildlife, which we don't want to have. There's about 10.5 k's of tracks in this Hamer Arboretum, 540 meters of elevation, so about 10% average grade, so fairly steep. Now, overall comparing the areas, I would say the southeastern section, so that Sherbrooke Forest, that Sherbrooke Falls, is the best if you want to see different wildlife. I always seem to find something new there. It also has some of the most beautiful rainforest of the 4 areas. The other most beautiful in terms of the rainforest is that Doongalla picnic area, particularly the southeast section of it. Plenty of loops around there you can do with that cool temperate rainforest, those huge mountain ash trees. And all the ferns. It's just vibrant green, lush, it's brilliant. If you're looking for a bunch of hills to conquer, then that 1,000 steps area is unbeaten. That 11.5% odd average gradient. If you really want to get your lungs pumping, if you want to improve your cardiovascular system, your hill endurance, that's the area for you. Finally, if you want views, that northern section of the northwestern quarter, that Burkes Lookout area, is probably your best bet for your views. It is, I think, the best lookout in Melbourne. It's the best one I've found. Now this northeastern section, I must say I'm less familiar with it. I haven't explored it too many times. I've done one big 25k run here just today. I would say it's the best for mountain biking. There's tons of mountain biking trails from what I can find. Other than that, it's got a good mixture. It's got quite a bit of that riparian forest. So if you're interested kind of in different communities along streams and stuff. And finally, of course, the Hamer Arboretum, perfect for your dog. If you want to get out in the forest, only 45 minutes from the Melbourne CBD. This area too, best if you want to go for coffee afterwards in Olinda, check out the town, go into that quirky antique store, go get lollies, enjoy yourself. Thanks for watching the video. Get out there and hike. Pick one of these, send it to a friend, go out this weekend, enjoy yourselves. If you could subscribe for more content, if this is something you're interested in, give the video a like, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.